All right. Now, if you've never used NFPA 80 before, the first thing you need to understand is that it's a standard. It's not a building code. It's a standard. And when we read, I'll show you the purpose statement here in just a minute or two, and I'll show you what its purpose is. It's not a code though. It becomes part of the code when it's adopted by a jurisdiction or a building code that's adopted that references it it's an external reference. Anyway, the first thing you need to know about this book, this is other code books like the International Building Code or their former model building codes, the National Building Code, the Standard Building Code, and the Uniform Building Code did not use what I'm about to show you. We're going to see paragraph numbers that have an asterisk after them. And what that tells us is that there's information in Annex A. So anytime we're reading a paragraph, so looking on your page right now, so about the middle of the right-hand column, see retroactivity? See the asterisk there? If we were to go to the Annex A and find it would be A.1.3. That's the paragraph in Annex A that we're going to look at. We will look at that when we get over there, just a couple minutes. But that's how this works. Well, anywhere we see, down here we have 141 with the asterisk. And by the way, just so you understand the way I'm speaking these numbers, I've attended code classes over the years where the instructors say 1.2.3.4.5. You will hate the word dot very quickly, and you just kind of start tuning it out. So typically, and as an instructor, I've tried teaching it that way. It's not comfortable to say either. So what I will say with a brief pause will be something like, turn to 131. I'm not saying 131, it's 131, meaning 1.3.1. Every once in a while, I'll use the dots, but I try to avoid that. It just makes it more comfortable for all of us. Okay, so we're in A13. And this is talking about retroactivity, right? That's the title of section 1.3. And in most cases, what we're going to read, we haven't read it yet, but when we read A131, it's actually 132, it's going to say that this book is not intended to apply to existing installations. But there's a very important statement buried right here. And here I really want you can highlight that however you want to highlight that statement. But that is where the first principle of the door safety inspections comes from. Do you remember what that is? It's in your books, right? It's in the presentations that we've done. That very first principle tells us that the doors and frames, these fire-rated door assemblies that we're inspecting need to be inspected in accordance with the codes and standards that were in effect at the time of installation. This is where it comes from. This little paragraph, or rather this sentence, this statement, has been in NFPA 80 since 1981. Now, remember I told you that the information, the annex is non-mandatory, right? So this is at best a recommendation. It should be noted, not it shall be, it should be noted, right? Should means we've got a decision to make. But in 1981, the wording is identical, but in 1981, there was no annex in the book. And this was just a note under Chapter 1. So there was no annex at the time it came into the book. So things have moved around in the book. And you need to understand that history. But anyway, that is where the very first principle of these inspections comes from. And it really, that's key. That is key to doing this work correctly in the field. There are a lot of people out there doing inspections that don't know this information. And it leads them to make some, let's just say, uninformed decisions about how the book should be used. But that is perhaps one of the most key statements right here. This is it. This is one of the most important statements that we have.